Hello and a warm welcome to the fourth episode of Third Half Podcast, a podcast where we took all things Sport.Fun, covering both football and American football. I'm Palmer and I'm joined as always with Samooves and The Love. How are we, guys?
Good, very good, very good. I just woke up. There's been like 30 minutes, so taking my coffee and let's discuss some NFL football. That's it.
Perfect. And is it rainy days for you today, Sam?
Yeah, it is. It's grim, it's sad, it's depressing, but I just woke up, had my coffee like the love, but I'm awake now for the podcast to basically make me ignore the weather outside.
Yeah, and for me, then it's nice and sunny outside, but the curtains are drawn. However, it's even sunnier over on X. I'm sure you guys have both read Adam's article that he posted 17 hours ago. Fun never stopped. Kind of running through all things NFL and what's going to be happening after the season. So this episode, we'll spend a little time, we'll read through it, we'll break down, and we'll kind of discuss our thoughts and feelings around the off season. Going to be very, very early in terms of speculation around, do you hold, do you sell, do you want to front run it? Do you want to be kind of, what will people do? And the article touches on that, that there's going to be people trying to front run the front runners, people acting out of fear, people trying to, lump onto one person and hype. So I think it's quite good, as a bit of an overview, how they've discussed it and how they've kind of broken it down to hopefully kind of prevent people from being able to just, manipulate the system and quote unquote come out on top. But yeah, I'll just have a quick read through the top and then we'll jump into the juicy bit. So he starts off explaining it's rough week in crypto. Obviously, a lot of the markets are down. So this is kind of the first product that they've launched. It's going into, they're looking at how do they get the audience that they've built up through the NFL, continue it into 2026 when the season ends and stuff like that. So currently we've got a lot of crypto heads, if for lack of better word, who probably, I don't think any of us are really in that same boat. I know a lot of us are the fantasy sports lovers, where we look at the long-term season long, but it's great that they kind of identify that a lot of people in the game are looking week by week and short-term. How do they get the maximum return? So they've kind of been saying, how do they deliver that? They can't go into too much, but what can they say and how do we go? So the first one that stands out for me is obviously games can stop, markets and rewards don't. And that one there, the games can stop, for me is a massive one. There's been a lot of speculation in the Discord, in different servers. I think that other fantasy sports games like this have ran virtual competitions. They've used the players' stats within the season. They've used players' performance in season to try and replicate a bit of a gamified engine, bit of randomness, bit of RNG, and manipulate a new game that people can play in the off season. So, that they're not saying that won't happen. They've not said games will stop, but at the moment it looks like we might just have a very linear kind of rewards and go from there. What are your guys' kind of thoughts? Sam, I'll jump to you first. What are your thoughts in terms of not having a virtual game for NFL that we can play week by week and instead just having rewards? Or would you prefer the team kind of go down a route of looking to build a virtual sports engine? What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, for me, I've never really played any of these fantasy looking games where you have to constantly play. I was involved with Sorare, obviously. It was mostly games where you're a bit more passive. So you have rewards like once or twice a week and you leave it at that. Whereas any virtual thing, obviously, I used to play FIFA, Ultimate Team. That was a thing that I did, which gained some coins and stuff. But I mean, for me personally, the way it is right now, it's already getting close to a top product. The issue is that when everything goes down in crypto, everything becomes bad. but the product hasn't changed. Like they've increased the rewards now for the packs, but the game hasn't gotten any worse. It's just that obviously if everything goes down and sentiment is low, there's gonna be people that want to see something new. But the product is the same. So for me, I don't really see it necessary because this going into this game, this is what we were already expecting. So for me, anything more is a bonus. Maybe they can implement it for those that are really wanting to be more active, but it's not too important for me personally, at least.
No, fair enough. So, Love, what about yourself?
Yes, just like Sam said, I played FIFA too. I played Ultimate Team, but glad that I'm stopped it because this is like shit murders. But yes, talking about I think it's better. Like I have the opposite opinion as Sam. I think it's good to have like a simulation games, you know. Like I think it's more fun than just have nothing. But yes, I understand the ones that like for example, you just have a passive winning, you know, when you don't have nothing. But yes, it's complicated. Like Sam said, the crypto is down. Like it's been 2 weeks, so people are like, I think Adam he was explaining this on Discord. Like people are withdrawing of FTF because they have other investments going
Yeah.
down, so they need money to survive, you know. So yes, it's understandable that right now the market is coming down. But yes, like Sam said, the game didn't change. The game, I think, like it's evolving, you know. But like it's the market situation, and we have nothing to do.
Yeah, I suppose it's a good point, and it's also that boredom. You know, if you're somebody who likes to play these games, be that so rare, be that whatever, obviously, if you're playing Sport.Fun and you enjoy the game, well, why would you have a very passive investment in NFL, whereas you could sell and move the gold over to FDF and have a more active game where you're, actually involved week by week, more tournaments. Potentially people will see that as an ability to get more return on investment. You know, if they can trade well, if they can win big TP, there is definitely potential for people to get a lot more kind of return on their investment playing FDF. However, there's also that risk element of, I mean, me personally, we might touch on it later on. So this weekend for the tournaments, I think I've got 15,000 TP in NFL. And with a port size that is very, very similar in FDF, I got 2,500. So, I got 15,000 TP playing a game where I got 2,500 playing FDF. So people have got that risk of saying, well, yes, you might be able to roll the dice, move to FDF and get more, but you can also get a lot less, or NFL can kind of drop you somewhere in the middle. I think one of the main talking points that I've heard around a virtual game, if they were to bring that, is the RNG. People hate it. If there's a big upset on a virtual simulation, well, that should never have happened. The computer's broken, the game's broken, it's not fair. Whereas in sport, in real life, if there's a big upset and the underdog wins, holy shit, did you see that? Who expected it? Who called it? It's seen in a very different narrative. So, it could lead to a lot of FUD, a lot of pissed off people if there was a virtual simulation, but it also could lead to people being a lot more active and actually staying in because there's a game to play and that's why they're here to play a game. Reading on down. Oh, go on.
This is for sure. Like the amount of people crying will be like much more than we already have. So that's for sure. That's for sure.
I can compare it to MFL, which is Metaverse Football League. Whenever there's a simulation, and let's say you have 10 shots, 7 on target, you scored 1 goal, but then the opponent has 2 shots, 2 on target, and 2 goals. Basically, MFL it's a simulated football manager, and the computer does the match for you.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they lose and they had shots against them which were less than they did, which was basically undeserved, they come crying in the Discord. Oh, how is this possible? How did we lose the match? We had 10 shots. So either way, people are going to be pissed or not if there's simulation or not. So all I would say is proceed carefully what you guys ever decide to do, Sport.Fun, because people are going to be angry either way, especially on Discord.
No, I think that's a good point, to be honest. And it goes back down to then saying, well, if they're going to be distributing TP based on real life performances, there's a computer generating that in the background anyway. It's just whether they give us a visualization to watch along and see how they calculate that TP or not. But I suppose it's that predictability. People can definitely, by the season end, sit down with a spreadsheet and calculate, well, this person will generate me this much TP, and it's very linear. But then that means people will either buy in or sell out. They'll either be like, well, this is a good investment, or they'll say, no, that's not for me, and they'll sell. Whereas I think by doing a simulation with the RNG, it's blurred lines. You can't calculate that anymore. So there's a risk element to it, which, yes, might mean some people are risk averse and want to sell. However, in this crypto space, I don't think many people are risk averse. Many people are risk driven, and they want to take that gamble. They want to take that chance and say, oh, I'm still holding this person's shares, who at the moment is trading at 20% of their starting price. I might as well hold them, and I could go and win. Whereas I'm looking at some of the bottom players, who may have only got a top leaderboard spot once in the whole season, and I'm saying, well, what's the point? I'm going to get maybe another 20 TP for the hold, or I can sell, take my $50 back, and go and see if I can win more. So more to come from that, I guess, more to come. But as we kind of read down as well, continue on with this, they talk about the World Cup in FDF coming on, and then this kind of alludes to as well why they wanted the game so early with NFL, to build that player audience, to start to grow the brand and grow the product. And they have spoken that many people might sell NFL as an American fan to go and buy into FDF to follow and support the World Cup that's upcoming. Obviously, that's kind of quite far away, but with as we read down, it talks about potentially the rewards might stop in July. That then kind of gives a bit of a dead space for a little bit before the season starts again a couple months later. So people can still hold for NFL, get the TP, sell on to FDF, and kind of bounce back around. So it'll be interesting. But so continuous rewards. They talk about the strategic approach to the actual game in itself. They talk about people kind of front running the front runners. It's a race to get out rather than being able to play the game, which I think we've definitely seen at the moment with the market cap. I think highs have been about 6.5 million MC, and we've kind of gone down to below 4 million MC in recent days. So there's definitely a race on some parts for people to try and say, I don't know what's going to be coming in the future. I want to get out first and kind of, get the exit liquidity out of it. So, they talk about the selling isn't bad, but I think the next sentence is, it is bad because NFL's so early. I think with the game not even having a run up, any selling is crushed. Yes, people like myself, I was lucky with the packs that I got for NFL. However, the majority of those packs are at a loss. Now, some people went and bought after hour one when prices were 5x the packs, and they're at an even bigger loss. And it's put a bad taste into people's mouths. So trying to get people to hold in a game that they're at a loss to, it's a difficult one. And I think a lot of people have kind of turned around and said, well, it's not for me. So this is where they kind of talk about the rewards. So, from what I understand and what I can read, they're going to look at the TP given since the game was live. So since week 11 till the end of the season, they're going to cut that in half, 50%. And then based on the player's performance across the whole season, so they've obviously gone back, looked at the games, got those leaderboards in place based on where they finished. They've then been able to kind of replicate, and they'll say, well, based on the season-long performance, you'll get 50% of the TP given in the game. What are your guys' thoughts? Do you think that's too much? Do you think it's too little? Is that kind of, were you not even thinking about it beforehand? What do you guys kind of think?
No, I think it's good, but just one thing that I didn't understand is like, for example, they said that you need to hold this player on his last season game. But for example, let's assume that I don't have any players in my squads, and then on the last game of the season, I go there and I buy everyone, you know. So then, like, I didn't hold them for the whole season. I just hold them for the last game, and I'm gonna win the TPs of the off season, just because I hold him in their last game, you know. So I think
So
maybe they can
this
do like
this
go say.
No, so this, if you read further down in the article as well, so to ensure this remains skill-based, off-season TP awarded will be modified by your in-game skill score. So basically, if you've not earned any TP all season, you're not going to be seeing it. So it's
Okay.
how much gold have you spent in the season, and what was your return? So if on average you're getting, I don't know, if your port is 1,000 gold and you get back 250 TP each week, you're getting 25% of your returns. You'll get 25%. Now, if somebody's gold is 1,000 gold and they're getting 5,000 TP, you'd get 5x kind of that base. So it's basically trying to say, don't just think you can sell out and buy back in and get all the rewards.
Okay.
It's very much a play the game, build up your kind of in-game reputation, whatever you want to call it, and kind of see the rewards come back. So again, that will be another factor. Some people might not have performed well enough and think it's not worth the hold. So does that kind of clear up that for you in that kind of
Yeah, I
worry?
get it.
Or
Yeah, I get it. No, yes, so it's good. So it's fair. Like, if you want to hold and have like a passive win, it's okay. And you can maybe have the like other people selling, so it's better for you because you earn more TPs. So
Mm.
yes, it's fair. It's fair.
Sam?
So it's 50% of whatever you won in TP you get in the
No,
off
no,
season, or
no. So I think on like last week there was 6 million TP awarded for that game week. So say if there's 10 game weeks left of the season, 6 million on average each, will have a 60 million pool of TP, and the rewards will then be split in half to down to 30 million TP, and then you'll get percentages of that. So that's why they gave the numbers. Let's say there's 100 million TP awarded. So again, based on the way that the market goes over the next couple of months, that TP number could go up quite high if there's lots of trades, if the market cap's high, if they're awarding big TP boosts. We're going to see a lot more tournament points in the off season, which is why early calculations are probably quite difficult.
Okay, fair. Okay, so and this TP you'll get it each and every week. It gets paid out.
Correct. Yeah, that's what they say. It will be a weekly payout.
Yeah, so for 6 months, huh? Yeah, I mean, 6 months, it is a long time to hold. And I mean, whenever you sell, you won't get those rewards again, right? Even if you sell in the off season, as soon as
Yeah.
you sell the player, you won't get them. I mean, I think a lot will change the first week of rewards in the off season. So if those rewards for people are not high, there would be a massive sell-off. But then, because they're selling, for the people that do keep the players, the rewards would be higher,
Yeah,
I think, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
So I
correct.
think there will be like a balance. We will have to. I think there will be a big sell-off the first week because maybe there will be a dilution of rewards since so many people participated in the NFL. And then whoever stays, the longer you stay, the more you'll get technically, and the rewards will be funneled to you. So, I mean, interesting. I think the first week will be we'll have to see how people react.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And I mean, as you know, just to finish off this kind of section of the article, so during the off-season, TP will be distributed weekly to current holders of athletes in proportion to what they won in the on-season. So if Mahomes won 5% of the total TP during the season, his holders will then see 5% of the off-season TP. So, you know, if you were to hold Mahomes throughout the season and he won X, you're going to get 50% of that during the off-season. Again, what we've kind of touched on before with yourself, beloved, to ensure that this remains skill-based, off-season TP awarded will be modified by your in-game skill score. So gold spent versus TP won during the season and the total capital you entered into tournaments in the on-season. So this current visible data, we've got the FDF leaderboard. There's obviously a section for the NFL coming soon, and that will be within the app. So a high skill score might be 2 times TP awarded, and a very low skill score will be 0 out. Obviously, with most people being in the middle. So to be eligible for the athlete's off-season rewards, the athlete must be held during the last game of the season. And then, which you've kind of just discussed there, Sam, the team go on to discuss. It's now that kind of gamification. Do you sell first? Do you hold? What do you do? So the article kind of reads on. If people sell early, they'll earn less off-season rewards due to entering fewer tournaments with less capital. So again, some Villa, like you're saying, if you were to sell 50% of your port during week 1 of the launch, and then be running with a very small port size during the season, you can't just pump more money in and expect to kind of get more TP in the off season.
Yeah.
It's not a reward; it's a kind of benefit for holding, which I think is brilliant. And Samooves, like you touched on, the more others sell, the bigger share of the rewards you will get in the off season, and the bigger the share of the TP. So again, if people hold for the first 3 weeks and then say, this isn't for me, sell, those that continue hold will kind of, take on the rewards that would have been gone to the people that now sold. So the belief is that the game's good and getting better, and that people will be back next season. So this is what Adam's believing, using TP to build an even bigger stack. So the sellers have less fun as they stop playing. So earning rewards are sidelined. I won't read the end of it. So that's kind of what Adam believes from this, and I think it's probably true for everything, and we've seen it in pack drops. We've seen it after rewards are given out each week. If you're not first, you're last. That is very much how I believe it. And I think it's the mentality of a lot of people. If you're not the first person to sell, you're going to miss everything and you're going to be last, And the people that don't sell, I think we discussed it on another, it's an upwards trend, but the upwards trend might go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But, it will still be that kind of that flat line if you hold through all the kind of peaks and troughs. So me personally, I will be probably holding the vast majority of my players. I think I've put it in a few different chats. Any player that I'm currently at a financial loss on, I will hold. I will hold to try and get more TP to offset that. And I will hold that hopefully come the start of next season, the game's still live, people buy back in. And yes, it's a long time, it's 8-9 months, but fingers crossed in that time that those holds will lose the value and kind of the value will be realized again. However, the people that currently are kind of 3-4x their price that I paid and they've got a bit of profit, I probably will be looking to kind of sell and extract and move that kind of profit into FDF to continue playing. So that's my first thoughts about all of this. Do you guys kind of have any opinions, any thoughts to how you're going to navigate this with NFL, or will you see when the time comes?
Just one question, like for example, if a player didn't earn any TPs in the season. Like for example, there is like 0.004, like, and they didn't earn any TPs so far. And if they, like if they didn't earn any TPs, like they're kind of
Yeah.
useless.
And that's what I was saying before. There's certainly going to be people with spreadsheets saying this person has the most top 5, top 3 finishes. They're the ones that I need to be getting invested in. They're the ones I need to be holding. And I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going, well, you've only won once. You've got such a small percentage of the TP1. Why am I even going to hold you? And that's certainly the case that I agree with. And it's why I almost lean to saying, well, if they were to run a virtual competition, that person that's never won might have a chance to win 2 or 3 times during the off-season virtual competitions. Whereas if they've never won, they're not going to get a penny of TP back. So it's that cat and mouse game of what do you want? However, for me personally, if somebody like Macmillan, who won, on week 11 for the first time ever when the game went live, if you're holding Macmillan, he's only won once out of all of the time. So it's probably, I don't know, 0.001% of the TP that he's pulled through. But if not many people are holding him and there's, 500,000 shares that are active and you've got 50K, I think that's quite a good return on investment, So there's certainly going to be benefits. And when you look at the other people, I know they touched on Mahomes, and I don't have the data in front of me, but if Mahomes is 5% of all rewards earned, and everybody goes, well, he's the best return for TP. Well, if everybody buys him and he's got millions and millions of shares held, actually he's no longer beneficial to hold, because that 5% is going to be, so kind of spread out across so many people that it might be better to go and get a shitload of shares in people who are 0.003 currently in value and have only won once. So yeah, the numbers and the stats that are going to be needed to be looked into and things. What about yourself, Sam? Are you going to be one of these are you going to be data driven? Are you going to look at the numbers and see what you're going to do, or are you going to go off, pure belief?
I'm gonna go off pure vibes and vibes. Like, I have 14 NFL players now. I trimmed down from the 32. I reinvested everything into the top 14 of my portfolio. Per week, like last week, I won another 400 TP or 500. Some of these players are probably not the best, but like you said, because I don't know anything, maybe it's a good thing, because I'm just having these players. I reinvest everything into the shares I have with these players. And since anyway the market is down, for me also, my initial thought was, okay, if NFL has the same run up as football, I'll probably sell something and reinvest into Bayern, into my stack. But since that hasn't happened, I might as well just hold the players that I have, increase the shares that I have with them, maybe potentially even start supporting an NFL team that is close to the East Coast, so I can watch the game sometimes, and then keep the players that I have right now, the 14, for the off season. And even if they don't win, and even if they've won 0 TP the whole season, right? But they've had good scores, I think it's beneficial to just keep stacking them, because maybe people don't want them, right? But guess what? If people don't want them, they have good scores, but they haven't won anything. What is going to happen in the off season when everyone dumps them? I guess it's a good time for you to buy something, because they have good scores. Maybe next season they have a breakthrough year. You don't know that. So my goal will be in the off season. There's probably going to be another market down. I'm just going to keep stacking with the rewards that I get. That's the plan.
No, fair enough. And I suppose the article title of "The Fun Never Stops" is probably a little bit of subtle foreshadowing to what we're about to continue to read into, and the bottom paragraph of this part obviously talks about what was speculated for FDF in terms of the scouting game, where you can try and predict who's going to be added into the game next. And they're saying, that there could be some form of draft version. Obviously, the NFL goes through the draft at the start of every season where they get the collegiate players. And this is where also if you don't just look at the TP factor, but you look at the other benefits that could come from holding long term, it could be a case that you get more ability to kind of buy into the draft players, get early packs for the players that are added. We currently have 72 players. We don't even have the starting quarterback for every single team. There's so much scope that the team can do in terms of adding more players. In theory, next season, they could add a whole new 72 players. Now, again, pure speculation. Could it be a case that those that hold shares are the ones that are going to get early allocation for next season? I think the team are quite aware that the allocation didn't go to plan this time round, giving it heavily to FDF people who had no interest in NFL. It was probably always going to be sold quite heavily. So this is almost the time to say, well, who believes in the product, who wants to be part of NFL, and who's holding and kind of reward there. So, it's saying that if you're correct in predictions, you're going to get an early entry price. Well, who's able to make predictions? Is everybody able to make predictions, or will that be solely for people that have held during the off season as part of a reward? So another thing to kind of keep an eye on, I suppose.
Yes. Even for the fun token, they can reward people holding the shares. They didn't set anything, but maybe you can earn fun token to hold players and then to use for scouting for the drafts. Like there's a lot of options they can explore.
I mean, I saw on Discord that, I mean, I don't know who it was, but I heard that people who withdrew, they probably won't be eligible for the fun token. I mean, if you withdrew like a lot, you won't be eligible. So
yes, this is yes.
Someone, I don't know who said that, but if you're extracted a lot from the platform, which I mean, I get some people have to do, you won't get as much fun allocation as someone who just played the game and had fun, basically.
Yeah, and I think people need to also understand that things like the allocation, it's a reward. It's not something that should be expected. It's not, well, I've played the games, therefore I should demand allocation in everything that comes forward. It's a reward for people, and it's also a way that kind of levels the playing field. And I think I've said it before, where if somebody's come into the game for NFL and you were brand new, you didn't get any allocation packs because you were a new account with no kind of history, and you paid when the market went live after hour one, you're probably guaranteed to currently be operating at a loss. So things like the fun allocation and fun token are a way to try and, bring you back to the middle. Whereas if you played FDF heavily, got loads of allocation for NFL, and you sold loads and extracted, well, why are we going to give you the kind of ability to dump on people's heads yet again? So it's one of those where people that believe in the long-term product will see the benefit, whereas people here for a short-term win, I think the team kind of turn around and say, well, you got your win, should be happy, see you later. So, again, there's lots of ways I'm sure that will be done. Fun is coming as we move on to the next part of the article. I think what stood out for me, play the game, create volume, show skill, bring in friends, and retain a respectable balance. So that's kind of, it's not a case of you need to do all of this. You don't need to do, but you certainly need to do a large part of it. So, play the game. Don't just be inactive. Hold shares in people. Try and win TP.
Open packs.
Create open packs. Kind of do all that stuff. Create volume. That's buying and selling. That's kind of trading within the game. Showing skill. Trade smart. Don't just go, oh, I've got a load of shares, therefore I should win. Actually go and, win TP. Bring in for friends. I think that for me with the NFL allocation, from what I spoke to Rick's, helped me quite a lot. I was I think I was like third or fourth in referrals. So that kind of took me quite far. And again, retain a respectable balance between buys and sells and some moves. That's what you've just touched on there. Don't just be somebody who is constantly selling at every opportunity. Kind of contribute to the market in a positive way. Is there anything in there that you guys think are missing in terms of that fun is coming? Do you think that's the nail on the head? That's all we need to know. Do you think it's going to be soon? Do you think it's going to be months away? What's kind of your initial thoughts when you were reading this?
The fun token, like, it's gonna be this year. We already know this, but when, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be on this month of November because it's already finishing. So probably in December. I think it's gonna be on December.
Sam?
Yeah, so for me, yeah, like Velof said, December. The base team keep spamming December 17th. So I think that will be the launch of their token themselves. Obviously, I don't have a glass bubble to see into, but Jesse and everyone from the base team have been saying just December 17th and posting it with absolutely no context. So if base team have their token on December 17th, I would assume that the FDF token launch would be before the base launch, in my non-professional opinion. So my prediction is before December 17th, but in December, Q4 of this year.
Yes.
Too soon. I mean, yeah, the start of this section of the article obviously talks about big announcements coming. The team spoke in the past that they've got kind of big partnerships with ex-pros, ex-Champions League, Champions League winners. There's been videos, there's been things produced. From what I'm aware, they're just kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's before they can kind of go public and go live. However, these people that they're partnered with are already invested in the game. They're playing the game. Do we think it moves the needle? Probably not. Do we think that, when they do this video, it will instantly kind of pump all the market up? Again, probably not. However, it definitely brings some strength and some backing into the brand that is Sport.Fun, and I think gives it a bit of kind of better reputation that what it can do, what it can bring, and the kind of the links and connections can come through. Are you guys excited to see who the player is? There's been a lot of predictions, shall we say, around who it will be, but are you kind of excited to finally see that video when it goes live?
For what? I didn't understand.
The video, the football player video.
Of Patrice Evra. Probably it's gonna be him.
Is
Yes,
it?
yes,
I don't know
yes.
if it is.
No, it's already official. Like Adam already said a lot of times and everything. They are posting like, "I love this game." Like it's Patrice Evra, man. So it's gonna be him.
Does that mean it's official though, that it's going to be him? Have they officially said who the player is yet?
No, not officially, but it's my official opinion. It's gonna be
Right.
Patrice
Okay.
Evra. And yes, I'm agree that it's better for the reputation and everything. Even for, I don't know, bring people from outside crypto and everything, like to see a football player doing an advertising and everything. I think it's good.
I mean,
Sam?
yeah. I've been in the crypto space now 4 years, and I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not trying to say anything, but oftentimes what happens in crypto is like the biggest announcements are like the top of the market, almost like a sell the news event. So let's say, for example, there's all these football partnerships coming. It could be that is the hype and everyone buys into that hype. But because market conditions and macro and everything is very bearish, and things are crashing, then maybe that would signal the top, at least for a couple of months, and then things go back down. Because I don't know if you guys remember what I said in the first episode of the podcast, is at least like outside of FDF, the conditions aren't like great, I would say. Bitcoin went down now. People think that the 4-year cycle, the crypto market, it's over now. It's going to continue going down maybe until 60K, 50K Bitcoin. So obviously these things also have an impact regardless of who the partnerships are. It's just that there's a lot of factors coming into this because, I mean, so far in the history of crypto, the cycle has lasted 4 years. And now we've seen a big drop because people are scared. Bitcoin went down until 80K. So there's already alarm bells going. It depends a lot on everything working together. If it's just the announcement of the players and everything else is bearish, maybe that's the top for the couple of months. If everything goes back up again, then yeah, this is a great moment, But I would advise people to be cautiously optimistic. That's all I'll say. And don't expect too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when they first obviously said about the announcement of the partnership and, that they're linked with the next pro and that, they're going to be filming content, everybody was excited about that announcement. And I think we're kind of at a point where people are like, it's now just announcements of announcements and we're not actually seeing the end product. And I think you're absolutely right that had this have happened, a month ago, maybe we would be talking about it very differently. That, the game's going up. We're about to get NFL. We've got, an ex-pro partnership. Oh my God, where's it going? However, it's almost like the dust has settled. And now this is coming out that it's kind of like, oh, well, but I don't know. I still think in the bigger picture, in the long term, it offers credibility. And again, I've not played other games similar to this, but I know people have kind of got past experience where the likes of, I don't know, Mbappe has been the face of other projects, but then kind of not actually done anything kind of behind this, behind the scenes, he's big, but players and users don't actually see any benefit of it. So I'd hope that it's a little bit different in terms of this, and we see a bit more kind of coming with it. But who knows? And I mean, the big one to end the article, this is for me what we've kind of all been waiting for, I think, within NFL, and that's the NFL buybacks. So the buybacks, from the looks, are going to be starting on Thanksgiving, and they're going to be doing it with a bit of a twist. So what we're used to seeing with the buybacks is within FDF, buybacks are player by player limited, and everybody gets the buybacks happen as a percentage of their fees that they've earned. However, this time around, they're going to be kind of testing it for a couple of weeks. So from Thanksgiving weekend through to a couple of tournaments into December, only the winning 16 athletes will get those buybacks. So if you're not in the top 16, you're not going to see the buyback. If you are in the top 16, you will see the buyback. So they're doing it as a bit of an experiment and seeing how it goes. So my initial thoughts when I read this were a bit like, what's the fucking point? Like, you either do the buybacks or you don't. However, after reading it for a little while and thinking about the off-season, it could be quite a good way for the team to hold back a lot of the funds for the buybacks. And then during the off-season, just not turn the tap on as such, but to release the funds during the off-season. So, when you're holding these shares throughout the off-season, there will be the drip feed of, $1 getting added every single hour, from the buyback wallet across the board for every player, meaning that those shares that you hold that are very low will go up and up and up. It's almost like, in one way, it's great because people will start to get that money back that they've lost almost by holding. But then also on a second aspect, it makes people look at the long term and say, well, actually, it's going to be more expensive for me to buy into these players down the line because of the buyback. So short term, I'm not too sure. I'd be interested to see how the buyback works for the 16 winning players. Long term, I think it could be quite good if they can save a few pennies and hand it out to those holding. Vilov, what do you kind of think around the buyback? Do you think that we need it kind of sooner rather than later? Is this something you've been looking out for in NFL?
Yes, of course, like buybacks, it's always like a good thing, like, oh, buyback. But I think in football, the impact of buyback wasn't that visual, because like it's $1 or $10 maximum buys per player. So it's not that visual for everyone. So I think right now they want to try something that's gonna be more like visual for the people to see, like, oh, the buybacks are really working, like it's worth it and everything. So they will try to concentrate all the fees into those players to get like a boost, of them, and even to hype the buyback. But they saying it's like a test they're doing, so maybe they can continue to do in the next tournaments. Maybe not. Maybe they can just, I don't know, like just let's come back from the previous buyback, like in FTF, because it's better or whatever. But I think it's good. Like, for example, for this upcoming tournament, it gives more value to the tournament because, of course, have the TP, but you also have the buybacks. Like if your players stay on the top 5 or top 3, you will be benefited by the buybacks. So I think it's a good thing. We will see how the impact of concentrate those buybacks into those players. We will see, but I think it's a good thing. They are trying new things. They are sorting out.
Definitely. Sam?
Yeah, so for me, I think it's a great idea. It's a 16 out of 72. I'm not good at maths, but I think that's approximately 20%, the top 20.
Mhm.
So imagine they do that for football. How many players we have? We have 205, was it? Right?
140.
130?
Yes.
40.
Yeah, sorry.
40.
So 130 in football, 20%, 20% of that is actually, the top 26 players, maybe top 30. So I think that could be a good idea even to implement it in football because you want to reward the best players in the market. So automatically, if there's a player that reaches top 30 because of his performances, and then the buyback gets activated for that player, I think that could be beneficial for the top players. And we've seen this when first football started. The leading players, the Yamal, the Mbappe, the top 10 to 20 were the ones leading the market. And then they brought everyone with them. And then obviously they're the first ones that were getting sold off while the market stabilized. So I think if you reward the best players, it's also a good way to boost the market because the the lower value players won't push the market up. It's the top players. So imagine you have the buyback for the top 30 football players or top 16 MFL players. Them going up makes the rest follow right along with them, just like in crypto usually. So I think it's a very good idea, and I would love to see this actually for football too. Because imagine you have like a youngster, he breaks into the top 30, he got like 1 or 2 winning weeks, boom, buyback gets on, which pushes his price even more. So I think that could be like a nice feedback loop that they could try out for sure.
Or even for cheap players, like there's players that are so cheap right now, and the impact of buybacks into him if they finish on the top 5 or top 3, like it would be massive, because they have less amount of shares and everything. So I'm excited to see it. I want to see it.
I think you both raise a good point. Yeah, I'll definitely be interested to see how it plays out in NFL. I'm not a data driven kind of maths head that can look at this kind of in writing and tell you exactly how it's going to play out. But no, it'll be interesting to read it. And yeah, touching on obviously Thanksgiving and the buyback starting on Thanksgiving. The team have also said that there's going to be a special event. So, you know, what kind of that means exactly, we're not 100% too sure. But, you know, so there's been an announcement with a couple of guys that are going to be streaming it every Sunday and kind of showing the NFL games that Sport.Fun have partnered with, which I think is brilliant. And by the looks, there's going to be some form of kind of special events coming through for the NFL for Thanksgiving. A day for the you know, the Americans traditionally sit around with the family, get pissed off with the family, turn to the beers, get the TV on, watch Thanksgiving football. You know, so us Europeans can start to embody that, you know, and watch some Thanksgiving football with a bit of a special twist. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens there. And just kind of to end it on that, is there any kind of overall thoughts you guys have after reading that? Any overall concerns? Anything that, you know, you think the team may need to touch on a bit more? Or does that kind of, you know, for the off season, are you excited with what they've put together?
Just about the Thanksgiving, I think they still have to. They will announce like how will be the boost of GP and everything. Um, but in general, I think no, like we have good news, and they say in the article like, this is not even the biggest announcement of the week. Stay tuned. So like, I think it was like we have good news of the off season. At least they are saying what their plans, you know, because you can like it's not good to stay on the black, you know, like you don't see nothing and everything. So now at least they have
Mm.
they set their plane, and I think it's good. I think it's good.
No, I think you raise a good point. I just wanna. I know some people in the Discord were saying, "Oh, there's no announcement from the team. What's going on?" Almost asking for answers. You know, where are all the announcements? They were getting very impatient because now for 1.5 weeks there was, or 1 week there was not a lot of announcements essentially. If I compare how the FDF team have handled communication compared to, for example, Sorare when I was there, that was my first experience, 2021, 2022, 2023 with Sorare, and also many other Web3 football games that I've tried. There is not one team that communicates as openly as FDF. I know this week it wasn't that much, maybe 10 days, but Sorare wouldn't say anything for weeks, like 1 month, 6 weeks, and then bam, they would announce something which completely changed the game, or almost like moved the goalpost, and then all the holders were screwed because there were all these new rules. They had no idea what's going on. But as a founder, Adam is constantly communicating in the Discord, announcing things. Everyone is very communicative. So I think people need to really appreciate what's happening with FDF communication wise. And price, price will go down, price will go up. A lot of it is not even in their hands. Like I said, the game has changed. But just from a community perspective, they're always keeping us up to date constantly. Which football Web3 game has done that so far? I've not had that. Sora didn't do that. For sure didn't do that. So that's a big bonus for me that they're so openly communicative the whole time.
No, definitely. And I mean, you know, I'm grateful that we've got kind of Ricks and stuff in the SDF strategy Discord, you know, constantly being able to do AMAs and kind of bounce questions to and from him. You know, and like you say, in the main Discord, there's a sea full of mods who are so helpful. You've got obviously the bot that comes back to you with questions, and you know, we get this big article from Adam. We then get an announcement of a too long don't want to read. You know, quick fire. What do you need to know? And then there's people on hand as well to say, oh, actually, I don't get this. I don't get that. So, you know, I agree that the communication is kind of good. yes, I'd still like to see a lot of different things be done a bit quicker. But kind of, in terms of roadmap and things, I do agree that kind of they're building that bridge and building that picture. I'd still like to kind of know what the plans are for different things in terms of, they've speculated about the scouting system, which we've not heard for a little while, or the leaderboards and the kind of in-game team things that you could do. But considering we've gone from a beta game and kind of within a few months going from now to fully running, NFL and FDF, sounds like they've put the NBA on the back burner, but kind of there's a lot of good to come. I'll stop sharing that for you guys. And we'll keep on the NFL theme. For those of you who listened last week, it was a absolute crime, I thought, that both Fulov and Samooves didn't have an NFL team, that they could have the passion of watching through the wins and the losses and the highs and the lows. And I set them both a little bit of homework. I sent them on their way and said, right, come back next week with an answer for me. So my team is the Green Bay Packers. That is my NFL side. I've followed the Green Bay Packers for probably about a decade. I first got into NFL playing one of the early Madden games. On that game, I first started liking the Washington Redskins because they had RG3. So when I'd play, he was the quarterback and he was always really quick on the game. So as a kid, I was like, oh, that's fun. And then kind of fell in love with actually understanding the game and Aaron Rodgers. And kind of that's how I kind of, followed through from my early beginnings into the NFL, and didn't really understand it, but I picked the Green Bay Packers, and that's how I followed them. So, Valov, who have you chosen? Why have you chosen? And who will you be representing for the rest of the season?
So the team I just choose because of Football.Fun. Like, I hold shares of the players of this team, and that's why I chose them. And it's Baltimore Ravens. I am with you guys. I am here to support you. And just because I have shares of Lamar Jackson and Henry, and I start to support them. I know that Lamar Jackson is one of the best quarterbacks. They are first in their group, in their thing. I don't know how it's called.
Division.
Yes, division. So yes, I am with Baltimore Ravens.
Nice. What about yourself, Samooves?
Yeah, so like we talked before the podcast, I initially liked the Jaguars because they have a nice logo. Then I also liked I have it right here. Give me a second. So it was the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I like Vikings, so Minnesota Vikings. But I noticed both of them don't have many players. So now I've looked at the New England Patriots because they're near Boston. And I went to Boston and I really liked it when I went to the US. Do they have any players in Sport.Fun?
They do indeed. So the quarterback is Drake May. I think he might be one of my biggest holdings. So yeah, I'm just trying to think. So you've got Drake May, Trayvon Henderson, Hunter Henry, and Stephon Diggs. So you've got one in each position. So Hunter Henry with tight end, I think he got top in the leaderboard this week, actually.
Yes.
Or did he? Yeah, I can't remember. That's last. Yes, he came first in the tight end. So I had a nice 20,000 shares in Hunter Henry. So you've got a player in every position for the New England Patriots. So we're going Baltimore Ravens and New England Patriots. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I'll go for the New England Patriots. Are they competitive? Are they or are they like really bad?
No, I think for last time I checked, I think they're pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot. So they play the Giants this week, and then they've got a bye week in week 14. So should be a big win this week coming up against the Giants, and then obviously a rest in week 14. But other than that, I think they're pretty much set on a decent playoff run. How far they can get, I don't know, but you're definitely going to have something to cheer for. And I suppose for love as well yourself, obviously Lamar Jackson's back healthy, back fit. You had a big shout the other week for Derrick Henry's price was going to skyrocket. So I suppose it makes perfect sense for you to go and follow
Yes.
that. So you guys need to go and get yourself a jersey, get yourself a cap, get yourself a beanie, something to wear, and we can do a podcast next week all wearing our team's colours.
Yes.
There's actually
as
I have
true
no players.
NFL fans.
I have no players of New England.
Well, you'll have to get that fixed.
Because
then.
like I
Get
mean, their
buy-in.
scores are not too great. Of the like Diggs. Oh yeah, Diggs. That's the guy I packed. Diggs. And I mean, it's mostly orange scores. So, I mean, do you think it's a good idea?
Well, So this week you had Hunter Henry top of the tight ends. Stephon Diggs came fourth in the wide receivers, and Trayvon Henderson came third in the running backs the week before that. So you've still got there's a lot of big finishers. And then the week before that, Trayvon Henderson came fourth in the running back. So you are getting top positions week by week. And like I say, against the Giants, I'm sure there'll be a couple of Patriots up in the top of the leaderboard. So are you going stick or twist, Vikings or the Patriots? We need to know.
Do the Vikings have any?
Are you a blue or
players? Vikings.
So you've got Justin Jefferson. You'll have to go Minnesota.
Oh, yeah,
it won't come up on the
Minnesota.
Vikings.
Okay. That's it.
So yeah, you've got Justin Jefferson, who's he is a top wide receiver, but he's got
I think I'll
9
stick to
throwing to him is just terrible.
The New England Patriots. That's my team. Come on, Boston.
Perfect.
Boston Tea Party. Let's go.
And switching over sports, then we'll jump back over to FDF for a little bit. We obviously had league football back after the international break. I was going to say you're excited, but I'm sending Samooves to sleep by talking about league football.
Oh, good.
What did you guys kind of get big scores in the last couple of weeks? We've then had a bit of a Champions League break. Where are you kind of looking in terms of TP? I touched on earlier in the podcast, I had an absolute stinker, like 2,800 TP, I think it was. So, I'm not the best pleased, but how did you guys get on?
I mean, this tournament is still on. I still have some players to do their matches, but so far, I'm just checking here again. But so far, I have 0 TPs, so I'm kind of worried. But we still have games to play, so I hope that some of my players stay on top 5, because otherwise 0 TP is kind of bad. And I'm here to ask for Stevon. Stevon needs to be added on Football.Fun. That's my shootout.
Did he score? Did he against Barcelona?
Yes,
I was out, to be honest.
He scored.
Yeah,
he did.
A great goal, actually.
Yes. And you know what? He's better than Yamal.
Yeah,
I just said
Yamal is a
Stevon
fraud.
is better than Yamal. Yamal is like he's washed it with 19, 18.
Yeah, he needs to continue having those parties.
I was going to say, I mean, I've just had a little check, and at the moment, I've got 11,900 TP in Højbjerg.
Wow.
Who's currently sat second of the leaderboard. It annoyed me that I've got Unai Simon. He's second goalkeeper. We had a bit of an opt to rescore. He was third with Sanchez, both on 134, and the rescore pushed him to 138. So he's currently sat in second. But yeah, Atletico Bilbao weren't able to beat Slavia Prague, which meant he got a lower score because they only got the draw rather than the win. Bit of a shame. but so I've got big bags in both Simon and Højbjerg. So yeah, they've been a decent one for me to return so far. But yeah, we've obviously got the big game coming up tonight. Samooves, Arsenal versus Bayern. What are your thoughts on that game? Are Bayern going to get it done? Arsenal, I think, are the favourites going into it.
Really? Are they the favourites?
I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, that's rigged. They got paid off. No, on a serious note, if Bayern are able to defend their stupid little corners and free kicks, because that's all they're able to do, then Bayern, and goes right into my outrageous prediction of the week, Bayern will win 3-0 at the Etihad. And if they're not able to defend the corners, then yeah, we're screwed, because that's all they do. It seems like their training is just doing corners, with Arteta screaming about passion and meditation tactics to sleep in the opponents. I don't know what they do, to be honest. But yeah, their ass. Apart from that,
do you think Harry Kane's going to come back and get one against his boyhood club?
He will score
Arsenal?
at the Etihad, and then he will shush all these glory fans that never win a league and are always second.
Oh, you confused me there when you said Etihad. You mean the Emirates?
Oh yeah, the Emirates.
I was like, they're not playing
same
Man
thing.
City,
I mean, just it starts with an E. Washed.
both a massive
we saw right.
Something else.
Man City lost 2-0 against Leverkusen. Like, what is a Leverkusen?
I mean, the team that Pep came out. I mean, anybody that's a Trafford holder, James Trafford, I think he's got the lowest shares in the game potentially. Probably were like, oh my God, James Trafford's starting a game for the first time in months. What's going on? And then you look at the rest of the Man City squad and realise that Pep Guardiola's just put out his reserves, and you're like, oh, what? And Leverkusen just went, yeah, thank you. We'll take the 3 points. See you later. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be anybody resting that much when we're looking at Arsenal versus Bayern. For myself, Liverpool play PSV later tonight, and Arne Slot's come out and said in the press conference, the team have got the quality, but we just need to stick together. And I got into many, many debates this weekend in the pub with different people, with United fans kind of ripping the shit out of me. So when Everton went and absolutely hammered United, it was still like a bit of I can't really celebrate, but there was a few text messages being sent back to United fans telling them where to stick it. So yeah, I need Liverpool to do something for me, PSV. And anyway, so Samooves, you've touched on it already. Let's do a little recap of last week's outrageous predictions. How did we get off? Valov, do you want to tell us what your outrageous prediction was? Did it win?
No, I said that it was the market cap of NFL will be higher than market cap of football. And
of course,
it's not true yet, but it's not true.
Okay, and Samooves, how did you get on? What was your prediction, and how did it get on this weekend?
So my prediction was a 3-1 win for Fiorentina against Juventus. It ended up being a 1-1 draw. I said also a brace for Moise Kean. He got man of the match and an assist, but yeah, it didn't work out, my prediction this week.
Yeah, my prediction was, I can't remember if I said it was a 3-0 win for Spurs against Arsenal. I know I said that Richarlison would be scoring. What I actually meant to say was Arsenal were going to go 3-0. That's what I was meant to say.
Okay, you just
misunderstood. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so Arsenal went 3-0 up. Richarlison came and said, well, your prediction's not completely dead, and scored a bit of a consolation goal before Arsenal went 4-1 up through. Yeah, I was going to say before Arsenal went 4-1 up with an Eze sealing his hat-trick. Eze scored an unreal goal and obviously put up an absolutely insane score. He was second in the midfield behind Elise. Elise scored the highest midfield score of the game so far. So, we didn't do too well. The week before, I think we went 2 for 3 and we've kind of gone 0-3. I think for love, your NFL cap was for like a bit of a longer standing one, so time will tell, but it's certainly not looking good. Shall we try and correct it this week? Shall we give some predictions? Who wants to kick us off? For love, Samooves, do you want to kick us off, one of you?
I have one. I have a good one.
Go
So
on.
for my outrageous predictions would be Lamar Jackson 40 points on the Thanksgiving match. So tomorrow he will score 40 points. The quarterback of Baltimore Ravens, and that's my prediction.
Is that a biased, outrageous prediction?
It's a prediction, like for sure, like it's 100%. Like if you want to earn TP, like you can just buy Lamar Jackson and he will score 40 points on the Thanksgiving match. That's it.
Sounds good. Samooves,
Yeah, so I
what's
touched
yours?
on it earlier. So first of all, a 3-0 win for Bayern, with Kane scoring and shushing the stupid crowd at the Emirates. So that's for tonight. For the weekend, now going back to another club I really like laughing at, Man United will play away at Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace will win 4-0 against Man United.
Are you gonna give us some goal scorers?
Mateta, hat-trick.
Oof,
Okay.
sounds good. I'm gonna go for. I don't even believe in this prediction when I say it, but it's my outrageous prediction. As I'm sure many can tell, my beautiful accent is from Wolverhampton, and Wolves go and play Villa in what is a Midlands derby this weekend. Villa are currently 4th in the Premier League, with only 3 losses in the season, and Wolves don't even have 3 points. However, Wolves are 12 games played, 2 draws and 10 losses. But what better way to get your first win of the season than going away to Villa Park and beating your derby rivals? And I think Villa are flying high. I watched them against Leeds. Leeds came out first 10 minutes and absolutely ran them ragged. The ball's in behind. They didn't know what to do. They couldn't defend it. And I think Wolves are going to capitalise. Don't ask me who's going to do it for Wolves, because I genuinely think they're all shite. But somebody somewhere is going to come up with something, whether it's Jurgen Strand Larsen, channeling his inner Arsenal set piece and scoring a header. But yeah, I predict Wolves are going to beat Villa. Nothing else needs to be added to that prediction because it's outrageous enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, this weekend Villa will be crying and Wolves will be buzzing. So that's a shout out for my hometown. So yeah, so as a recap, the love, Lamar Jackson, 40 points on the Thanksgiving day. Samooves, a little double whammy. It's going to go for a Bayern 3-0 against Arsenal. Should be interesting. And then what have you gone for this weekend? Sorry,
Crystal
I've completely
Palace,
forgot now. I've
4-0
transfixed
against
on
Man
Bayern.
United.
Palace against
Mateta
United.
hat-trick.
That's the one. And then for myself, a Wolverhampton win versus Aston Villa. So that wraps us up for another episode. It's been with 4 for 4 on the week so far. It's been lovely again, lads, to chat, to kind of have a bit of a deep dive through the updates on the NFL for the off season, what to expect. We're still yet to have announced some kind of special Thanksgiving game. Hopefully we get some announcement over who the pro player is that's partnered, who Vlov has officially said from himself it's Patrice Evra. And we'll be back next week with another episode and kind of see where the landscape is. Touch wood, we might have a little special guest on next week, so see what we can kind of come up with. It might not just be our 3 faces that you're looking at, and we'll leave it there for episode 4 of the third half.